Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about supplements. I'm going to go into a bit of detail on what I take, why I take it, and kind of why I feel supplements are a good addition. I think the first thing to mention is that you can gain results without spending hundreds of pounds on supplements. I made a huge mistake when I very first started this whole bodybuilding journey, because instead of prioritizing quality foods, I was eating packet foods, frozen foods. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I was then pummeling over £100 per month that I didn't necessarily have, or I could have put towards quality food, on a lot of supplements that I didn't necessarily need. So I think two things are really important. One, you can gain results without spending hundreds on supplements. And two, supplements should be very much an addition to a really, really good diet. I think there are things that when you're trying to do a transformation and you want quite a restrictive diet, there are a lot of things that you're going to lack as a result of this, because foods aren't necessarily as varied. The way we cook things, we can lose nutritional value, and different kind of things are going to mean that we don't get every macro and micronutrient we want. So at this point, we then look for quality supplements at which we can bring in, we can take, and then we can make up for those things that are going to make performance the best it can be, make recovery the best it can be, and just give us the most healthy body and opportunity to grow and get towards our goal. So I'm going to go through the supplements that I take. I won't recommend doses simply because everybody is very different, and my views are very different to everybody else's on what they want to take. If you then have anything that you take personally that you want to know, is it valuable? Do I recommend it? Or do I know more about it? If you just ask me a question, I'll happily cover any supplement. The first supplement that I take and is my go-to in the morning is vitamin D. So I have a vitamin D with K2. This is a spray under the tongue because it's faster absorbing. Now, the main reason why I take this is because vitamin D is actually one of 24 essential micronutrients that we need in the body. There is a vitamin D receptor on every cell in the body, and it's really important that we give ourselves a really good top up of this. Now, for the majority of people who live in the UK, this is very restricted. So if you do live outside of the UK and you're lucky enough to have some sunshine in your life on a regular basis, you can get plenty of it from the sun. But given that we don't get much sunshine in the UK, and also the fact that we work indoors a lot, which means we don't get out, we don't get fresh air, etc., our exposure to the sun and vitamin D is quite limited. So it's really, really helpful. It's got lots of immune health benefits. It benefits you in terms of your focus, your drive. So one of the things that I really like to do is take it in the morning. It's the first thing that I have when I wake up, and I then have my coffee, and it just gives me that focus. The next supplement that I take is a B complex. The reason this is so important is because it's very, very good for adrenal health. Now, if you have an idea of what that is, basically your adrenal glands are what secretes hormones into the body. So having good hormonal health will help you with regards to things like testosterone production, estrogen balance, all of those really, really important hormones that when they're out of sync can affect results, whether that be getting as lean as possible, putting as much muscle mass on as possible. The healthier your hormones, the better. There's also a lot of immune system benefits to taking this as well. So again, a healthier immune system means you're able to fight off diseases, and it's going to kind of help overall recovery, overall health, which if you're in this for the long term, is so, so important, because we want to make sure that we're as healthy as possible and we're able to get the best long-term results. The next supplement that I use on a regular basis is ashwagandha. Now, ashwagandha is a very clever substance. So it is a supplement that will adapt to your body's needs to bring about homeostasis. So if you have high levels of cortisol, let's say induced by stress during your job, stress from a workout, cortisol will help reduce these levels and keep them at the normal level where the body is really happy and thrives. This is really, really important because, again, out of sync hormones can then affect fat loss. If you're chronically stressed, this can have a lot of health implications, and it can go against results. So making sure that you manage those is really important. And I find a really good time to take this is either in the post-workout window or if you finish work and you've already trained after work, because this is where you're more likely to then relax. And I think being in that relaxed state, that will really help you to promote sleep as well. So it's a very valuable supplement that you can take, and it's very cost effective. The next supplement that I want to discuss is whey protein, arguably one of the most widely used ones around. There are a few things to consider with whey protein. It's extremely good if you're looking to increase your protein levels because you can't necessarily eat more meat, you're a vegetarian or a vegan. It's a very, very good way of increasing protein levels. I think it's really important to understand that with regards to whey protein, a lot of it is sourced from the same manufacturers. It's just different labels will then put different labels on it. They'll spin it in different ways and advertise it in different ways as a really, really good product. But a lot of the time when you strip it back, it is just the same thing. So I guess the most important things are that you enjoy the taste of it. It agrees with your digestive system and you're not paying through the roof for it. It has to be cost effective. I do also recommend that you switch around whey proteins because your body can develop a certain level of intolerance, and quite often we can put it down to different foods if we're feeling bloated or any such side effects, but it can be consuming whey protein. And I also recommend that you're not using too much whey protein because again, you can speed up this process. It's really important to get it from natural sources and not just be having 2, 3, 4 scoops per day. But personally, I love to use it in my oats and I love to use it in my post-workout shakes, and rotating it just means that it stays fresh and I don't get kind of sick of it. And lastly, I think it's really important to understand as well, it's a very good way to make foods taste a little bit sweeter if you do crave those kind of things as well. So it can really suppress cravings as well as giving you good quality nutrition. Following on from whey protein, I like to use carbohydrate powders. So my personal preference at the minute, because of digestive reasons, is dextrose. There are other powders such as highly branched cyclic dextrin. There are Vitago is another one. And essentially they're all quite similar. So basically it's just a purified form of glucose, which is what your body produces when it breaks down carbohydrates. The difference here is you cut down the digestive time and your body is able to absorb it much faster. So this is a really good intra-workout. Intra-workout just basically means it's going to help to fuel your workouts, it's going to get into the bloodstream quickly, and then it's also going to prevent that muscle breakdown and kind of help your recovery. It's also a really, really good tool to use if your calories are really high and you're in an off season and you're kind of struggling to push food. You can add this simple carbohydrate into your foods, your shakes, and it will give you more calories without necessarily having to eat a lot more. So it's a really useful supplement to have. BCAAs and EAAs, so EAA, BCAA, they're quite useful tools. So a lot of people will argue against this because they probably give you a few percent. One of the main reasons, cards on the table, why I use them is because they help my cyclic dextrin taste nicer, or my dextrose. It adds some flavor, but it also kind of helps me to feel every bit a part of the bodybuilding culture, because it's like sort of all the gear type of thing. It's motivating to know that you're having that shake and you feel like you're ticking every box and doing everything you can. In terms of actual benefits, I would say they are minimal if you've got a really high quality protein diet. So the concept is when you digest protein, it's broken down into amino acids, then there are essential amino acids that we need to grow and rebuild muscle. So again, it cuts down the digestive time and it helps you to then kind of start getting on that road to repairing and increasing those levels. It's not an essential supplement, but again, if you want to help things taste a little bit nicer and you want to kind of just feel like you're doing that every single bit you can, that added percentage, it's a really useful supplement to have. The next supplement I'm going to talk about is creatine. Creatine can be a very, very useful supplement to take. Creatine is basically what fuels the muscle. So our body creates its own natural levels of creatine, but from around the age of 30 to 35, these levels start to decline. It's also really difficult to add creatine in your body via food. So it's a really good supplement to have if you're looking to increase muscle mass, increase performance, increase strength, all which are really important for fat loss, for muscle building. If you're going to take creatine, there's argument about loading and how you should kind of start this, how much to take. I personally think that if you've not been using creatine, it's really useful to load at around 20 grams a day for around 7 days. If you do this, you can then maintain for around 5 grams per day. Now, if you take it around your sort of pre or post workout, this is usually the most effective time according to research. But it's just ensuring that regardless of when you take it at a consistent time. With regards to loading can be quite stressful to the gut, so you've got to make sure that you load it in a way where you're not going to feel that gastrointestinal stress or bloating, that kind of thing. So you can then split the loading phase, 10 grams pre, 10 grams post. It's really just what works for you. You will get there faster if you load it at 10 grams pre and post or 20 grams post than if you was to just kind of take 5 grams a day for a long time. So think of it as just saturating the muscle as much as possible and then going into like a maintenance phase with it. There is arguments of cycling creatine, but personally I just think I will use it, run out, and then when I order more and it comes in, then I can continue to use it. There is nothing to say that it's a negative thing to keep using it, but there are definitely lots and lots of benefits of taking creatine, and it's one of the supplements that I do strongly recommend. Next up is pre-workout. Pre-workout is a really useful tool to get your focus and energy and drive for a session. I think the biggest mistake people make is they use pre-workout too often and they become desensitized to it. So it's really important to kind of cycle it, use it for days where you really need that push, or it's a day where you've got like a really big lift, such as leg day, deadlift day, and don't just use it, because a lot of people become really reliant on it, and then when they don't have it or they take it, because they're so desensitized to it, they have to take more and more, and if anything, it has a detrimental effect. So just make sure you spend time away from it. And also, when you're buying pre-workout, it's important that you make sure that you buy a product that is really useful, because with regards to some of the companies, they overload you with all of the main ingredients because it creates more intensity, but you end up having things like crashes and you end up feeling awful. So look for good amounts of balance in there. I use the JP one currently. That's my latest one because it's a really good balance. So you're looking at ingredients such as caffeine, beta-alanine, creatine, citrulline, BCAAs. If you get a good balance, it should give you a really good focus, and you want to look for things that you're not necessarily feeling, such as you feel no crashes, you feel constant source of energy and focus. So it's more what you're not feeling as opposed to what you are feeling. For example, if you're gonna then, you feel a bit crashed during a workout, that's probably not the best sign. The best kind of pre-workout is you'll kind of get through your workout and think, wow, that was an incredible session because it was just a good amount of focus, there's no crash. But they really do help with things like vasodilation, which basically opens up your vessels, you get a better pump, you get better blood flow, oxygen supply, and performance can go up tenfold. So that's it for the supplements that I take. As I've said before, if I can answer any questions on supplements that you may have used or may want to use, I'd be more than happy to. But I guess the biggest take-home message is make sure that you're getting your value for money, you're taking stuff that's going to really benefit your goal and not just for the sake of it, and just ensure that you're getting the most quality supplements. Do your research, ask people, and when you're taking things, pay attention to how they make you feel, because feedback from your own body is the best way to know whether what you're taking is good. I've took many supplements in the past that affect my digestive system, or they affect my focus in a negative way, and just by switching things up and taking things out, adding other things in, it's really helped. So just be aware of what you're taking, and again, any questions, I'll be more than happy to help. And just remember, regardless of what you're doing, training hard, eating right are the main things that are going to get you results. It's not what you take. Just ensure that they're a good addition to a solid setup.